I've seen a flying saucer.
You've seen one?
Yes,
Where was this?
definitely.
Unidentified aerial phenomena.
To cover up our mistakes.
I've met people who swear they've seen Bigfoot.
Join us for a journey into the obscure.
You are now listening to The Wow Pod.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Today we have Kim, right?
Yep.
Now, Kim goes by Indigo Feather. And
Yes, that is your website, correct?
Yeah, that's my business name that kind of represents everything that I do. But people call me Kim, they call me Kimmy. Some people refer to me as Indigo, and I'm like, that's not my real name. But you can call me Indigo because it sounds pretty cool.
It does. Betsy was wondering a while back if that was your real name, and I was like,
That
it's
would
a
be
long line of hippie if that is.
That would be.
Yeah. I mean, I could change it, right? It would just take a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, paperwork. You got to go see a courthouse.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kim.
So I, since as far back as I can remember, have always seen, heard, felt, and known things. I just kind of thought it is normal. I thought it is what most people could do. When I was a child, and I would know things, like just understand that things were going to happen, I kept it to myself. Sometimes I would tell others. As I got older, my mom would know things, my sister would know. I would tell them bits, but I guess I wasn't really comfortable with expressing fully what I knew, heard, saw, and felt until I got much older, which is a great part about getting older. You just care less about what people think. So yeah, I've always sensed spirits. I've always had a really strong intuition where I told a friend the other day, I said, I've never gotten a speeding ticket because I hear, slow down, there's a police ahead, and I listen. So make sure that happens if you listen.
I'm looking for a co-pilot, and
yeah, I'm available. I'll be the best Uber driver ever.
Man.
So just things like that. I've always seen people, sensed things, heard things, knew when things were going to happen, and it just took time, age, practice, and belief to really understand it. And over the last couple of years, it got to the point where instead of necessarily just seeing somebody, I would hear, and they would tell me like who to tell a message to. So I got to the point where I said, I just gotta start sharing this with people, and if they believe me, cool, and if they don't, well, that's cool too.
Yeah. So the messages you receive, they're now audible. So like you audibly can hear them.
Yeah.
Not as much a feeling.
So I kind of get it all, which is good. So like years ago childhood had it, teenage years had it, all those complicated years had it. But if your ego is too busy, like I couldn't always hear what the words were coming through, so I would feel it. Maybe like 10 years ago, it started getting to the point where I really felt like I was growing and needing to understand it more. So they were getting louder, and I would say like, this is funny. Can you talk in like a British accent, or can you do something so I don't think it's my own thoughts? Like I know it's something else.
Brilliant.
But they didn't listen to me for that. But so it comes in like, to me, the way I describe it is if I hear a message, I feel like it comes to this part of my brain. That's the best way to describe it. It's like, boom, I hear a message.
So now is that the right side of your brain?
Yes.
Okay.
And so for me, I've learned to listen, like, because
that'd make sense. That's your artsy side. The other side's
the more creative.
Yeah. That's a good way of thinking of it. I didn't really ever do that because I call this side like my ego. The human side of your brain where it's like, no, protector, don't do that.
Very grounded.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of what helped me, because there was a long story about like an accident, and I knew it was going to happen, and all of that. And I was like, why couldn't I really listened? So please just make sure you're talking to me louder this way. So I hear things. I can see things. I tell people like, it's like watching a home video sometimes. Like if you see a picture of somebody's house, or you see something that's going to happen. Or the other thing is it's like, and they're all different clairs. There's real words for like clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, like smelling. And the other one is feeling, where you can just feel that things are going to happen. Like, if I'm talking to somebody, you just feel like a cuddly grandmother feeling. That's the best way to, like, oh, there's a cuddly, like your grandmother was really sweet. Or you just get these kind of different feelings that you learn to, and it's just practice. Everybody, you can enhance your skills. We all have them. It's practice, learning how to differentiate what's coming from outside, which is not from here. It's from spirit, source, guides, universe, whatever you want to call it.
The great
So-
conscious
Mhm.
that we all belong to.
I think a lot of people might be able to do that. I don't think I'm one of those people.
I've had a few instances where I've thought
Yeah.
I knew long before had I just listened. But, we did an interview with a remote viewer. And one thing that I found pretty interesting in the conversation with that is she said, you have to learn to let go of everything that you know to be true.
Mhm.
And just go with it. So remote viewers have to let go of what things should look like and just describe what they're seeing.
Yeah.
In order to be, good remote viewers. So I can understand that right brain versus left brain kind of communication.
Yeah.
So do
And
you
then
think I'm
you
too
just
far.
work on it.
I'm
Go ahead.
too far into my
You're
left brain.
You're far too grounded. We got to work on that.
Uh-huh.
So, like, are the messages coming to you fairly constant? Like,
Yeah, is it just like taking up your entire
Is
day?
it-
Like, stop,
well,
I'm
is it
trying to
like-
watch The Office.
Yeah.
is it like kind of white noise, and then when something important is coming, it peaks and then goes back to kind of a white noise?
Kind of like what you both said. So I don't like going in crowds, and I have never been a fan of crowds because it's like you said, white noise. Like imagine hearing like and it's just like, what in the world? Like almost
So everything
overload.
those people are dragging with them.
Yeah, their spirits, their, like I used to not understand why I would sit down at a restaurant with like friends or family and be like, oh my gosh, she's fighting with her mother. They're talking about divorce. I just thought that I made up these stories in my head. Like, why do I know all this about these people? I just must make up stories about my head. But then, you hear them say it, or you occasionally, have a conversation and you're like, oh, that's true. Oh, I don't want to get in your business. So a couple of different things I do is like especially before going into a big store, like say a Walmart, or getting out into the public, I kind of just do one of these, like woosah. You can do whatever you want. I put myself in a little bubble, pretend like it's a nice protected bubble, and I'm not going to allow everybody else's info, crap, stress, their energy get into my energy. Because there have been plenty of times where it's like the universe is trying to test you. And I would tell my husband, I said, I swear it happened again. You go to a store and you're at Market Basket, which is a grocery store up here, and you're trying to order deli meat, and the woman comes up to you next to you and she's like, my deceased husband's like that kind of ham. And you're like, oh, I'm not at work. Why are you coming to tell me that, So it's almost like sometimes people.
So was that a person came and
a
said
human,
that?
yeah, like a living person.
And she
that,
vocally said that to you? Do you think maybe like
She knew?
like us,
Like maybe on another level?
unpracticed people kind of were drawn to speak to you differently?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. I feel like so the way that I best think it happens is I think that their loved one kind of nudges, because, your loved ones, when you pass, loved ones are always around, and they're directing us, they're guiding us. There's sometimes those voices in the back of your head, whether you listen to it or not, that are like, oh, go talk to this lady. Or it's just happened too many times where I feel like it's their loved ones coming to speak to me. And, I'm not one of those people that, TV does where they go and they start talking, because that's all planned, but it's awesome. Maybe with time and confidence, but, in the middle of the grocery store, I haven't yet to do that. I offer my condolences is like, yes, that's, what a lovely, nice to talk to you about your husband, and I allow them to talk to me about them. I don't say, oh, they're standing right next to you or anything like that. It's just more of a guidance thing. And, I was buying, what are they called? Hand warmers this past fall for my son's football game. And this man comes up to me at Walmart and he's, oh, I used to hunt with my dad all the time. He's past 20 years now, but, he used to use these. And I'm thinking, work. I just want to buy hand warmers and leave.
Yeah. I imagine
Nice.
that could probably get kind of intense sometimes in a store.
Yeah.
Overwhelming.
So, what's your favorite? I mean, all of these I would consider healing, but what's your favorite thing? Do you like? I understand you do Reiki.
Yeah.
And you do mediumships. I've actually had a reading,
Yeah.
which was amazing.
Yeah, Betsy had it after an extreme tragedy in her life, and it helped out a lot. So thank you for that.
A lot.
Absolutely.
And my nieces have all had readings from you, and my daughter-in-law had a reading from you. Each one of them was unique, and each one of them was 100% right on.
Betsy mentioned me having a reading today.
I want to do a reading for Jared. Whatever that looks like for you, maybe the next show we just focus in on that, and I set it up with you and get you the information you need. But what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know. It's like a tough question. It's like choosing between your kids. You tell them they're all your favorite, kinda. I guess they all have different, like Reiki to me is so wonderful because it's a little less draining. Like it's not as mentally and emotionally on me. If I'm giving a client Reiki, I can feel their energy. I can feel if they've got shoulder pain, or maybe like a woman I knew that she was having, trouble with her ovaries, and that is a little bit more calming. You're releasing energy, you're moving, old stagnant things that have built up over years and years and years, and you're just really helping a person take some time for themselves to remove stuff out here that's affecting them physically and then mentally. So that is really an uplifting kind of awesome feeling. I love doing tarot readings and general readings because it's almost just like offering somebody clarification. Most of the time we know what we're supposed to do, but sometimes you just need somebody who can be like, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but lay out some cards and here's your life situation and this is what you need to do. And they're like, you're absolutely right. But part of them probably already knew that. Sometimes it's hard to move forward if it's a decision you don't want to make.
So is tarot cards kind of like a mirror reflecting back what should be done then?
Yeah, you can think of it that way. For me, I call it, like when I do readings, I say like every card is like a chapter in a book, right? And then when you look at all the chapters, you get an overview. So whether it's a specific situation they're questioning, if it's life, whatever it may be, it's kind of like, here's what's working for you. Here's something that's going against you. Here's some subconscious things that you need to work on. And then if you can do all these things, here's a good outcome. The thing with tarot that I like to stress to people is everybody has free will. So the cards will always pull what you're thinking. So what you're energetically putting out there, emotionally, physically, whether you speak it or just think it, the cards are going to call you out on it. So that's why you don't have to. Go ahead.
That was a question that I had. Are tarot cards, like the chicken before the egg, are tarot cards telling you of the situation, or do the tarot cards help create the situation? If you know what I mean, because I believe that we create what we speak. And if the tarot, our universes are entirely up to us.
Mm-hmm.
And if the tarot card, says this is going to be positive, then that reinforces the fact that it's going to be positive because now I'm going to create that. Or is it the other way around? It was already going to be positive and the tarot cards are just, telling them that.
Probably a little bit of both. That's why specifically how you worded it is nice. Like I like to tell people you have free will. So maybe if, I did a reading for a woman and she was questioning like the marriage wasn't going well and it was coming, she had told me like a relationship and it was all coming up emotions. So cup cards, like trouble with marriage. What do you want? You want that connection. And it was like, but you're not getting that connection. So I kind of like knew what was going on in her life. And I'm not going to tell you to divorce. I'm not going to tell you to work it out. You need to know what's best for you. But like the ending card was basically like a happy, you're going to have to go through a bunch of crap because she got some crap, harder cards, but the outcome's going to be good. So she's got to do the work to get to where you're going. I don't like when people see readers or, tarot card readers and they're like, well, they said it's this, so it's going to be this. No, it's up to you. It's just because they said you're going to meet Harry on a Sunday and Sunday, like don't go looking for Harry on a Sunday.
Right. Or if you stay home, then
Yeah.
you won't, unless
It's just,
Harry's a delivery guy.
yeah. Yeah. It's, we all have free will. The cards can lead you and guide you in the right direction, and it's ultimately up to you to follow the path. And maybe you go off path, but you know what? That's going to create the next journey. That's going to get you to the right relationship or the right next stage in your life.
So tell me about your cards, because from what I understand, there are many different decks. How did you find your deck, or do you have several decks?
I'm a deck hoarder, so I have a problem.
I have all of them.
I started collecting tarot cards when I was in college. And again, I was drawn to it. I used to do it for friends, but I didn't know, I was just, I found this, I like this, and I would do it. I think I probably bought my first deck at I don't know, Barnes & Nobles or something, or like a weird store. And that after a while creeped me out a little bit because it got too real, so I put them away for a lot of years. And then I just, as I got older, more confident, more comfortable, I started collecting like lighter versions, like animal spirit cards, angel cards.
Right.
And it's all the same. So there's oracle cards, there's tarot cards, they're based on different ones. Like there's the Rider-Waite series, which is more like this. That's my favorite. So I've got this favorite set here that I use all the time. And how I chose this one is I just feel like I resonate with it more. Like if I look at a card, I can read it, if that makes sense. Like, so every card has a meaning that's like attached to it. But what I think most, medium psychics and all that do, especially if you cannot, you listen, you hear more than just what the typical thing is. You know what I mean? Like, the Hermit. Okay, well, the Hermit means you need to maybe chill and take a step back, like going inward, a little bit of solitude. But in a reading, if this pops up in between a few different cards and I hear more words, like she's going through this, or this is happening, or they show me an image, I can kind of relay that, which makes the reading a little bit more in depth for the client.
So you get a little extra more than just the average tarot card reading would give because of your connection to the spiritual world.
Yeah. So I think, anybody who does tarot cards and oracle cards and all that, and basically, you're intuitive, you're working on your gifts and skills, and it's a great. Some people don't want to do any more than that. Me, I love doing the tarot cards, but I also, do have that where I am able to hear, see, and feel from spirit. Sometimes during a reading too, a specific soul will come through. I've had this happen multiple times. So doing a reading for a woman via Facebook video chat, because that's how I do a lot of my clients, because they're all over the country. And I get this specific feeling, and I said, oh, somebody's here. And I felt that it was like a big brother like feeling to her and her friend, who I don't know this woman really very well at all. She's like, oh my gosh, my friend just passed away this summer. And then he started talking to me. So we took a break from the tarot cards, and I just relayed a couple messages to her about her friend who passed away, how he passed away, that it was recent. He gave her a couple of encouraging words, and then he kind of moved on. She was grateful, and then we finished the tarot too. So I feel like in the tarot, you're going to get my guides, your guides, and an overview of what's going on with your life or the situation. And then sometimes if your friends or family who have passed are really wanting to get a message to you, they're like, okay, she can do it. They hop on in, and I just tell you what's going on.
Do you have, so I understand the basics of tarot cards. I have a couple of decks, just to play with. And I also have some angel cards and oracle cards, which are smaller decks and much easier to manage. But the full tarot card deck has major and minor arcana, correct?
Yep.
And then it has 3 different basic types of suits, or is there more? There's the coins, the cups, the swords.
So 4. You were close.
So
So yeah, cups, pentacles, swords, and wands. But I mean, depending on your decks, like some decks will do elemental. So like wands will be represented as fire, because it's the same meaning essentially. It's like inspiration, energy, sparks, things that can take, cause trouble, but also give life. There's different meanings. And then like swords might be referred to as air, because that has to do with like cutting through, to communication, truth. Pentacles has to do with earth, which is like physical things that we like to have here on earth, material goods, often money, career, those kinds of things. And then cups, water. Water is emotions, things that intuition, kind of our subconscious thoughts.
So there's many ways to create a spread, correct?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Is that
thousands.
decided by you, or is that decided by the person that you're giving the reading to?
So my favorite thing to do is I start with 6 cards. So I do a little bit, I call it the cheat card right before the call, because I always meditate for like 10, 15 minutes before I call with a client. And I say, tell me anything I need to know in advance. I kind of, it's like a cheat peek in. Tell me what I need. What am I getting into here? And then they hop on, and I'll pull at least 6 cards. Depending on like the situation, I will pull more. Sometimes cards jump out of the deck. If you ever hear, the card jumped out, it needed to be read in that order. Sometimes if I do like a general 6 card read and I feel that the story's not complete, I'll just keep going until I either hear, that's it, that's enough, stop giving them, you're done, they don't need any more information. I just kind of listen. But I think a general, there's really great 3 card spreads for new beginners, past, present, future, like advice, obstacle, outcome. And you can Google that. I mean, they're all over Pinterest. You can find, any sort of spread that you're looking for. But I always start with, I think 6 is a good start.
Good solid number. Not too many, not too. Is there any card in the deck that when you get it, you're like, wow? Is there one particular card that really has like really strong meaning?
So a lot of times people would always get, let's see, what do I got here? So people, sometimes we get scared of like the death card. That's not a scary card. It just, people sometimes think it is. It means like the end, that's essentially is what that card is telling you. It's like, it's time to release, an ending, move on. And then when it falls in the spread, you can kind of see, what do they need to end? Like, is it a work release? Is it, is that coming right after a bunch of, say pentacles? So you need to end that work trouble, so it doesn't necessarily mean like a passing death. A lot of times people get scared of the hanged man. Again, that's just saying, oh, you need a break, like take a break, hang out.
Why, if these aren't scary, why did they use death and a hanged man?
Yeah, no kidding, right? Because it was like the 1800s or something, and everything was like macabre or whatever that word is. For
death.
me,
Ta-da! Oh no,
yeah.
no, it's not scary. Oh, really? Thanks.
Yeah. So for me, some of the scariest cards, let me see if I can find it, or see if I can pull it out first. So the swords I was mentioning, I'm gonna see if I can find it.
That generally means conflict, correct? But if it's upside down, then it could mean something else, or
yeah. So then you can do like reverse, and reverse means other things. I honestly don't have a lot of cards that come out reversed. I don't know why. Sometimes they do, and I'm like, ooh, this doesn't happen very often. And that's just kind of like a reversal of the meaning of the card.
Mhm.
But for me, a lot of the scarier cards are swords, because swords have to do with communication, intellect, subconscious thoughts, those kinds of things. So like some of the scarier ones would be the 9 of Swords and the 10 of Swords are some of the darker cards, because like, if I can find it here quick. So like, let me see, I don't want to have not talking time. The 9 of Swords is basically, it's telling you that this person's having major anxiety, they're having stress, they're having, well, the multiple say stress, pain in their heart. Let's see. Swords in general. 7 swords. No, I'm trying to find the 9. Going through here. 9 of Swords. So this card, the 9 of Swords, is one of the scariest ones for me. It's basically saying that like this person's having actual physical pain, like their heart can't take anymore. They're having anxiety. It can have to do with like she's kind of chilling with a bunch of swords all around her, and she's sleeping, and she's got one right there. She
Crow.
might person in a reading might be having
Oh,
bad
we lost
dreams.
your sound there for a second.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now.
Okay. So yeah, so this sword, the Nine of Swords, is a scary one, a scarier one, because this is telling me that the person is literally having probably heart pain, whether it's for betrayal, a romantic, friendship, whatever. This has to do with like you're having nightmares or bad dreams, that kind of stuff. And then the Ten of Swords is also another like ominous card where it's like a lot of betrayal, things along those lines, hurt, a lot of hurt. A lot of the Swords cards have to do with hurt.
Now,
Yeah.
the death card falls under what? Does it fall under, like you got swords and you said
That would be a
pentacle?
major arcana, correct?
Yep, you got it, Betsy. Yep.
So it doesn't fall under the, okay, I'm so lost now.
It's kind of like a deck of cards that you playing cards. So you've got the suits, which are kind of like the major arcana.
Yeah.
And then the numbers kind of go with the suits, but they are the minor
What does the
arcanas.
death fall under?
It's like a major arcana. So it would be like a suit card. So like it's a
So they've got a
king.
death in swords and a death in...
No. And then there's the Fool too, correct?
Yeah.
Is that in every deck?
Yes. So the easiest way to explain it, so the major arcana, don't quote me on this because I'm having a brain bubble. There's like 23 or 24, I can't think of the exact number right now, major cards. So think of tarot cards as a story, the whole story, right? And your story is going to start off with the Fool. So if you open a new deck, the best advice would be to literally put them in order. And sometimes they should come in order. So the Fool, what is the Fool? The Fool is naive. This person could be on a flip side, not naive, like spontaneous. This person could be starting a new journey, because the Fool often has like 1 foot off a cliff, and you're like, oh, but that's not scary because that could be really a positive card. He's starting a journey.
These people who drew these up, they had to draw everything as scary as possible, even though it doesn't mean scary.
Yeah, exactly.
He's falling off a cliff. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad, huh?
He's going to land on a fluffy cloud, I promise.
The guy's hanging from a tree. Yeah, don't worry about
It's
it.
okay.
Easy money.
Yeah. So, and then it goes to like the Magician, and then the High Priestess, the Empress, the Emperor. And so all in the major cards, it's like 1 through 20 something. It follows a story, and each of these characters is portraying something. So like if you were to get like the Empress, she is usually, to me, that would describe somebody who is, I like to think of the Empress as like a mother. So abundance, love, nature, nurture, that kind of thing. And then if you were to get the Emperor, that represents like a fatherly like figure, somebody who's going to take on that role, where it might be a little bit of like authority, father figure, more rigid, more structure, that kind of stuff. So those are the major. That can kind of tell you people who are in your life, the circumstances, things that you're going through, like there's the Tower. Oh, this one's right here. So the Tower is another one who people get this can be a little bit more of a ominous depending on where it falls. So it's literally your castle's burning. Half of it's burning down.
But it's okay.
It's all right. The other half's okay.
No need to worry.
But that to me is like that.
I'm making tarot cards. They're going to be fluffy bunnies.
Yeah.
There's going to be the kittens and the puppies.
And they have them. They do. They have those.
Those are the ones I need.
Yeah. So
My
this
gosh.
card, so this would tell me that like you're going through a major upheaval. That's saying it all
Your
right
house
there.
is burning.
Yeah. In whatever sense of that meaning is, it's like stuff's falling down all around you. Now let's figure out how to make it better. And that's what I like to always do with tarot is we all go through crap, but it's how are you going to handle it? How are you going to manage it? And what are we going to do to get you to where you need to go? Because before every reading and message, I always, I want helpful healing messages. So while this person may be having their house burning down mentally, emotionally, physically, what are we going to do to get them out of it?
Right. The power of suggestion, really.
Yep.
For even people who have no, barometer to say whether they believe or not or have any experience with it, the power of suggestion is pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you do now, do you do these readings over Facebook?
Yeah, so that's wonderful part of technology. Most of my clients are all over the country. I've got my small office here in my house, which I can take clients, and I do have local people come here for Reiki readings or tarot. Most of it's done on Facebook video messenger, or I've done Zoom before. Some people prefer phone calls. For me, I don't mind doing the phone calls. It's hard to shuffle and do this, but
That's
I
I was
like,
just about to say you need one of them headsets,
yeah,
you know,
but
like the
I like to
secretaries
see
have.
people, because to me, it's very personal, and energy can travel. So I don't have to see you to get your energy and feel, and they're going to tell me what's going on anyway, but it's just
So,
much more personable.
okay, I have to ask this.
Yep.
I would be remiss if I didn't. When you're talking to us, are you hearing any spirits about us?
So I got stuff on you before. Yesterday, a lot was coming through
On
for
me?
you. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if you want, we can start talking about that.
That is the most interesting thing I've ever heard. Yes.
So before, I always try to get into my zone and do all this before work and just with life in general. Like even with, I've got children and a husband and a busy life. I need to come into my workspace and like zoom out, kind of like chill, get in my meditative space. And mommy's going to work, guys, leave me alone for an hour. I kept getting, so one of the things that happens to me when spirit wants to talk, and again, whether I'm wanting to talk or not, I get a feeling in my heart, and it's like a very specific feeling that I know it's not my heart, if that makes sense. Like I know there's something else making me have this feeling here, so I know if somebody wants to talk. So
I'm nervous.
nothing to be nervous about. Just kidding. Tower card. No.
Ta-da! Not the hangman. No, that's a good card. No.
Yeah. So for me, a couple of things were coming through and again, the way that I like to describe it is I can only give you what I see, hear, or feel.
Mhm.
The way that I like to describe it too is it's like playing charades. Sometimes I can see an image.
Imagine.
Yeah, because
Second
like,
word.
yeah,
Sounds
exactly.
like.
This the other day I had a woman. I was like, golfer. Did your father have like golf? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, he's not telling me because they showed me like a golfer, like a Tiger Woods. So I'm thinking golf, Tiger Woods. And then she's like, golf. She made a question, and then he did this, and I said, oh, it's the hat. It's like an old man hat. Because I then tugged on the hat in the image, and she's like, oh my gosh, he would call himself an old man hat all the time. So that's why it's like playing charades. If I see a golfer, I'm like, oh, say golf, and then they have to point. What are they, talking about? So I have to interpret what I see, hear, or feel in a way that hopefully makes sense to you and resonates to you, because it's not for me. I'm just literally the medium, the middle person here to share. Two things. I almost feel like there's a couple of people who have passed that you've known or been close to. Both feel like they were male. And I don't know if there's been somebody who passed away who, and then if you perhaps, when at the time of this person's passing, it almost feels like there was a little bit of like you weren't on eye to eye, like you were not seeing eye to eye. And I feel like the reason why they wanted to come through and talk about that a little bit is it's almost like to let that go. It was like you either weren't close at the time of passing, or there was a little bit of a disagreement, or not still like. So the image is this. So I see like not seeing eye to eye is what kept coming through.
Yeah, and I think I know who that'd be.
Yeah, and so the basic after that, if that they made me see the not eye to eye thing, is it's like things weren't fully aired out. It's okay. It's weighing on you. It's not weighing on them. Like forgive yourself, forgive them. It was what it was. They've moved on. So in other words, it's time for you to let that go. If you've been kind of carrying that thought around, not all the time, but occasionally feel like that might be something that comes up to you, and they're like, nah, man, let that go. That's nothing that you need to worry about. That was what happened when they were physically here, and there was a reason why they're not carrying that, and they don't want you to carry that anymore. So if that resonates with you. And then the other thing was disagreement. Yeah, because there was like the sort of the eye to eye or disagreement, some sort of disagreement. I was thinking, now I'm not sure how you guys are connected, and I know I've spoken to your son, so I wasn't sure if it was two males, if there's besides Jay, which is your son, yep, or if there's another male, because I couldn't discern if there was two different people, to tell you the truth.
Could be either or. We're siblings.
Okay.
Brother and sister.
Okay. All right. Because to me, it also felt like somebody was trying to offer you advice. It's important for you to know the role that you fulfill for everybody. Like, in other words, I don't know if you feel like you know just how much you do for a lot of people. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It just felt like you are very, like, this person is making me feel like they're so appreciative for you, for what you do for everybody. It seems like you help a lot of people, if that makes sense to you. Like, and your personality, they made me feel like, because I don't know you, but to me, they made me feel like he is this person who's got a big heart. He's such a giver. They kind of teased too. So this is why I was wondering if it was your son, kind of a funny way. They made me feel like, and again, I'm like, don't be generic, but show me something good if you're going to talk to me. Like, you being goofy, and I don't know if you're kind of a little bit more like, you know how the kids use the word extra? Oh, they're being a little extra. And it looked like you were trying to be a little like, oh, look, he's over there being extra. And it seemed to me like something that you would do. It seemed like there was a bunch of people. So I don't know if it was at a recent party or you're kind of like being extra.
Always.
Okay.
You're always extra.
Yeah. And and they were teasing you in a funny way, like, oh my gosh, look at him again. Like, oh, he's being like that goofy, extra kind of personality. But that tied into that feeling of like, you're so appreciated for your personality and for the role that you play within your family. What was the other thing? This came through. What time was it? It was before the call. I came back down here to kind of chill before I had to go about my morning. I started getting a real tight chest and heart area again, like major pain. So I don't know if the person or the persons, one or two people, because I couldn't tell if it felt like more than one spirit, to tell you the truth. And they weren't like, sometimes they can separate their information and sometimes I can't separate, what's coming in from where and who. Center, aches, heart, chest. So I'm not sure if I was like trying to ask, and wasn't very cooperative, if that's something you experience, chest aches, heart, a little bit of heart pain, or if that's something that they experienced when they passed. Because sometimes when I ask in a reading, tell me how you passed, and I can share with you as much as they'll share with me. Sometimes I'll feel like, oh, my lower stomach, or oh, this. But I mean,
it felt male?
Yes, absolutely.
Very interesting. See, all of that resonates with me.
Okay.
For instance, the podcast, I think, has really like saved me because it gives me a different focus. And it was his idea, and he's the one that's always like, okay, we've got to, stay on track on this. And that absolutely takes me away from being stuck in grief. Just doing this podcast takes me away from that. So that resonates with me. And he is so extra.
I am quiet. I'm like a church
so
mouse.
Extra. That's awesome.
The other thing too is I feel like, and I sometimes I can tell you exactly what side of the body it was on. I don't know if you have a tattoo on your shoulder or your chest, or the person who passed did, because it was a very big. They were pointing out chest, and it was a tattoo, like shoulder. Or
I've got one right here that I got in memory of him.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, now, was that for hers or for mine?
So it was tuning into what I was doing for work today. Some was yesterday and some was today. So this was today that came through about chest, upper shoulder area tattoo.
The first one is Brock.
You think so?
I do.
Before you give any more information, because you don't want to try to, I try to like to give what I got before you talk back a little. The other thing that I felt like with this person, their passing was like unexpected, and they were a friend. Like, to me now it's coming through, I don't want to say troubled, but like maybe a little bit of trouble was going on. And the only other image that came through too, and I'm not 100% sure how this fits in because they didn't show me them using it or it getting used on them, like almost like a movie scene where it's like an action movie scene, if that makes sense, like guns and things like that, but like actiony.
Okay.
Well, that one I don't know about. Now,
Okay.
I mean, me and all my friends shoot a lot of guns. But the first one is definitely Brock, I think.
You guys weren't seeing eye to eye.
No, we hadn't had much communication for the year before he passed.
Mm-hmm.
The second one could be any number of people.
Okay. And I apologize. I didn't really get any names.
Oh, you don't have to apologize for anything.
Yeah, that's way cool.
The first one, the minute you said, now his passing, he died of a fast acting lung cancer.
It's crazy fast.
Yeah, like
really unexpected.
like a month.
Oh,
from the time he found out till he was gone.
Month?
I mean, no time to even respond.
And it was a unknown lung cancer, like a weird one. So that, but yeah, there at the end, we weren't arguing. We just weren't communicating anymore.
yeah. And he wants you to just kind of let that go. That's the feeling. It's like, hey man, it's in the past. It happened. In other words, like get that off your shoulders if you can.
I can try.
Mm-hmm. He wants you to.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know there's two people that if I was to reach out to communicate with, it'd be him and Grandpa.
Yeah.
Those would be the two that I would
You would try
communicate
to.
with.
Yeah. For sure. So in a tarot card reading, when someone reaches out to you and contacts you for a tarot card, having been to a couple of readings, normally the person who's getting the reading cuts the deck and shuffles the deck and things. That's something that you do. Do you just find a quiet space and like you said, meditate and then do that for them? Or is it all done? Could you give us a demonstration like how a normal tarot card reading would go if they did one on Facebook?
Yeah, absolutely. So to me, I don't, this is like one of my sacred tools. So I kind of like that other people don't touch it.
Yeah.
Even better for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then, I mean, I sage my room every time before I come to work, and I sage after. I do like, okay, and I kind of do one of these. I'm cutting off my services. We're done. I don't want to talk anymore right now unless you really need to come through, but for somebody who comes on Facebook, we just set up the video time and we connect. I introduce myself. I ask them to think about the subject most that is on their mind. What's the question? I don't really want them to tell me, because that's the thing that I feel like with psychics and mediums where, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you don't want to feed information. You know what I mean? And because I wouldn't want somebody to say, oh, well, I said this and then she said that. No, I want to just give you whatever I can give you. You know what I mean? So it's just from me, not any sort of like.
I got the impression right off the bat the minute you said it. What happened when we weren't talking was completely my fault. It was all something, it was my neglect and my lapse that caused it. And it's hard. I mean, he was the best friend a guy could ask for, and at that time I wasn't.
Mm-hmm. But he obviously wanted to come through and is still pointing out, being like knock it off, get over it. It is like move on. And I say that in the nicest way, is like he's trying to tell you, man, like don't carry that around with you anymore.
That's
so for the tarot cards in a Facebook reading, I would just ask them to think on it, because whatever thoughts you are thinking or saying out loud, universe is hearing and they're attracting for you. And so I like my guides are playing with your guides, and they kind of just tell me what to do. And the cards, I just quiet my mind. I try to get a read. and by read, I listen, I tune in, and I just start pulling cards. I'll pull 6 cards. Haha, the Hanged Man was the first one that just popped up for that one.
Oh,
Nothing bad.
goody. Yeah.
If you guys want, I could do a quick 6 card or even a 3
Yeah.
card
Yeah.
just to give you
Yeah.
a trial.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
never had a tarot reading done.
We'll do a tarot. He'll do the tarot reading. I do them all the time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Every chance I get.
awesome.
I'm a Luddite.
Do
He's
you
a tarot
want?
virgin.
Ooh. Do you want? Do you want to do a 3 card in interest of time, or go for the 6? I'm cool with whatever.
We've got plenty of time. You
All right, so let's go ahead. And then I mean, is there something that's kind of already just in general going on, and you want me just to kind of say general read what's going on?
let's look at vocationally right now. For job wise and work wise.
Okay. All right. And I'm going to tell you, as much as that's what you want to talk about, if they decide it's something else, they're going to call you out on other parts of yourself that maybe you either talk about or don't talk about out loud.
Hangman it is.
Yeah.
Hangman and the death card, and then a lot of swords that are 9s. And
All right. Gonna pull one more.
okay.
And the way that I listen to tarot is I just hear stop. That's the best way that it so you know how you said.
So as you're shuffling and mix them, it'll just tell you when it's ready.
Yep, stop. So I stopped, and you got the world, which is the end one, which is good for you. That's really good.
Okay, the world. All right.
It's not on
All
fire
right,
or anything. There's not an asteroid
Let's
approaching.
see that card again. Okay.
You're sitting on a beautiful lotus, and
Oh,
butterflies are coming to you.
And I'm sitting cross-legged, and
Looks great.
all right, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So the first one we did get was the Hanged Man, which is a couple things. Because you were talking about it so much, sometimes spirit can be a smartass. I like, they can kind of, especially if they know your personality, they could kind of be playing with you a little bit, and that's just the truth. So it is what it is, and we'll just go with that. So the first card is what's going on right now for you. So the Hanged Man is basically saying that, to me, I feel like in this situation, you've kind of either put yourself in this situation or you're feeling stuck, perhaps, but you're not really stuck. And what I mean by that is you might be tangled up in other people's thoughts, your own subconscious that should be, could be, would be, whatever, blah, 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 blah. So you're kind of almost stopping yourself from making the next forward move, okay? What I would recommend for this too, and see, this is what's good too, is I listen. Before, and especially having to do with work, those kinds of things, it might be really good for you to take a pause. This card is basically saying, take a minute, do some inward reflection, figure out what it is you truly want to do, get yourself untangled from your previous thoughts. I should be, what if, I don't know, all that crap that stops us from moving on. Because ultimately, you are in control of your situation in your life, and you're really not tangled and tied up to, you're very loosely tied there, you know what I mean? Like, you're going to get your way out of here, but you're going to have to do some of the work to figure out the next steps. Now, the second card in the general is kind of like, what do you want? Like, what's going on? What do you want most out of the situation? And you've got the 3 of Pentacles. So the 3 of Pentacles has to do with material goods, earth, like jobs, careers, manifestations, things like physical things that we want here on earth. What you want most is I feel like this is telling me you want harmony, you want growth, you kind of want you're good. You want things to be good. You want the cracks filled in, you don't want, I don't want to say a bad word, you don't want the stuff to keep overflowing. You want to fill in the cracks of, life. You're not looking for this wonderful, grand, everything is exuberant. You just want things to be good. You want harmony. And I'm not sure if now I'm looking ahead, I'm kind of cheating. The next card has cups, and you've got 2 cups. So I'm not 100% sure if you are in a relationship too, that's part of the wanting of what you want most at the situation is you want a balanced relationship. Somebody else, like a give and take. So I feel like that's what you want. That's what you desire. You want a kind of a good, chill life. You want to be content. You want to have the yin to the yang. If somebody's back's hurting, the other one picks up the load, kind of thing. And one person's not carrying the whole workload for the whole house. You guys work in harmony. So I think that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking to attain, and I do feel like you will get there. Now this is interesting. So the third card is usually, it says fears. Like, what are your fears? I don't always like that word because sometimes it makes people scared. What are some subconscious thoughts that maybe are holding you back, or keep you up, or that little chirping voice sometimes that's annoying that you don't want to really listen to? Two of Cups shows a man and a woman kind of equally sharing the water there. So again, now I'm curious. You want to talk about work, but I feel like there might be a little bit of a relationship stuff going on too that they're calling you out on. So this has to do with
So true.
right?
It's so true.
Not what you want to talk about, but what they want to talk about. So the Two of Cups is showing, a man and a woman having this harmonious relationship. He is filling her cup, but in the same respect, it is a partnership. Duality would be a big word here. I feel like that is something, and they're not telling me whether you're achieving it or you're really looking for it, but you want that. I feel like that's ultimately what you want. And this is a beautiful card. They are doing well. They are in harmony. There's a good balance. They've got this beautiful little fairy, sprite, whatever you want to call it there. They're under the full moon. But it's interesting where this fell in the third lineup. The third is usually like something like a subconscious fear. So I don't know if you're maybe fearful of having relationships, or fearful of maybe the little bit of fear relating to relationships for whatever reason.
She's very good.
Huh.
And that's okay. But now I think we know what you want and we know what your fear is. So there's something in between there. You want it, but there's a little bit of fear there. What's going for you?
Relationships at all.
He is so.
So the next card is very interesting. Now you're riding a dragon. What's going
Riding
for
it though, not being eaten by it. Not
no. See, and there's a rainbow. See, there's the rainbow. You're good.
And that's the fourth card.
Yeah, the fourth card is like what's going for you at the moment. Like, what is some positives for you?
What's
so
the riding the dragon is like the six of.
So it's the seven
Seven of
Cups. Okay.
So cups, again, remember that is, see how it's all, so the Q words here, see there's water, cups, water, emotions. Those are all Q words for you, right? When you're just like a general tarot person would say cups, water, emotions, and you kind of follow that train of thought. So the seven, so how we were talking about the minor before, right? It starts with aces and it goes through 10. So that's like another story, right? So you've already been through 1 through 6 per se. Okay. So right now, what the Seven of Cups is telling me in this lineup here is that, like, see, and this is interesting, and I'll take a picture and I can send it to you guys after too, because the Seven of Cups fell underneath the Hanged Man. Now, if we relate those two, where they fell in the spread, the Hanged Man is telling you reprieve, rest. You're kind of tangled up in your own thoughts and weaves, and you got to figure out your own stuff. The Seven is telling you it's like a time of reflection. Literally, 7 in tarot cards is saying reflection, assessment. You've gained a lot of knowledge here too. So what I feel like this is telling you is you've got a lot of opportunity. You're capable of managing different cups, work, relationships, family, life. And I don't feel like you're one to let things get out of balance too much. Like you can handle a lot of crap and you keep stuff afloat. Sometimes maybe you keep a lot in. Outwards, you let everybody know that everything's fine. Maybe inwards is different. But for the most part, what's going for you is you have the ability to maintain a lot of different scenarios and keep everything afloat. But let's see where else this goes, because it's interesting where that fell in number 4, which is what's going for you. I just think you have a lot. That is very positive spot where you can keep everything afloat. Even when others might think, oh, my ship's going to sink, you manage to be like, okay, let's plug up those holes and we're going to move on. We can handle this. We can move on. We can do this. We can do this. So I think your positive outlook is going to be what's going to help you, whether it is the vocation, like you said, or the relationship aspect. Because I think that could be calling together both of them. Since it's 7 and there's so many cups involved there, there's a lot of different people and players involved. So a hurdle, so the 5th card is usually like what's going against you, some things that are it's like a part of your story that you need to overcome. I like to say it that way instead of saying like what's going against you. You got the 10 of Wands. And wands, see a few cards there. Fire, see all the colors, it like looks like a fire kind of colors.
Mhm.
So when you look at that, you would think of like inspiration, energy, things like that. And then it's the 10. So the end of this suit, 10 of Wands. You've been through the journey, okay? So a typical tarot reader would say, okay, 10 of Wands, it's a completion, end of a cycle. Put that together with inspiration, energy, enthusiasm. I'm just trying to listen a little bit more too. Life's purpose. I don't know if, and so if you're searching for something more specifically with what's going on, you know, it's almost like where you're coming to it. To me, it's like, so this side of my brain and the tarot general reader is saying that you are still heading uphill. The 10 of Wands is kind of, you would say it's like completion and end of a cycle, but this is telling the opposite. This is saying that like your horse is tired, you've got a heavy workload, you're still trying to figure stuff out, but where I'm kind of wondering where that came in is, I want you to make sure that you're doing what you want and like fulfilling your life's purpose, and relating that back to like the 7 of Cups and the Hanged Man. You got to listen to what is going to make you the most happy, even if it is going to be a little bit of a heavier burden getting up that hill to get you to where you need to go. You might need to let go of some of that baggage. You might need to let go of some of the other people's thoughts. I should have done this. I can't carry all your crap today, so you got to take that back. And I think that this has to do with you figuring out ultimately what it is that you want your next step to be in order to lighten that load so that you can continue to get up the hill, so that you can be the 10 of Wands where you're gonna get up the hill. You're pretty close, but you've just been like, dude, I've been walking a long time, man. My back's hurting. I've got a lot of stuff I'm carrying around. And then the last card is usually like the outcome, what's the future, those kinds of things. And this is pretty cool to get this on the 6th spot, which again is like the outcome as you go through this. You got the World. And the World is, there's 21 cards in the major. Sometimes 22 if they put an unknown. So see right down there, the numerals, 21. Mm-hmm. So that's the last card in the major arcana suit. And this is basically telling you like fulfillment and completion, right? If it's the last in the major. You've attained what you want. You've got a harmonious balance, harmonious balance of all the elements here. You've got the water, you've got the earth, you've got the physical goods she's sitting on. It's lush, it's green. You've collected your thoughts. Everything's going to work out good. But I think going back in the story, what we really need to work on is the 10 of Wands, figuring out exactly what it is you want to do, the life's purpose, the goals, releasing other people's crap that you've been carrying around, or maybe your own crap that you kind of need to let go in order to move forward.
I'm sure I'm carrying around lots of crap,
especially when it comes to relationships.
Yeah,
I'm gonna make sure certain people listen to this.
Yeah, because that definitely and then if we go back and we look at the 3 of Pentacles and the 2 of Cups, where it fell is what you want and what you're a little afraid of. So there's some soul searching you can do on your own and a little bit of homework and deep digging into that. Overall, what this is basically telling me is it's like everything is going to work out for you. You've got to lighten your load and figure it out exactly what your next moves are so that you can make it up that last couple steps up that mountain till you get to the World. You know what I'm saying? And the whole relationship aspect, I just feel like you might do well from like, and this might sound funny because sometimes they show me, so I'm seeing a wheel, almost like, like people do like visions boards, but like a wheel. So sometimes if you draw a circle and it's like, what do you want at the center of it, right? And if you were to write down exactly what you want, work, career, relationships, whatever it may be, you write it down there. But then on the next level, what is the next steps? Like that's the core, right? And then right above it, what is some steps that I can do to get here and here and here? So that you're not looking at life being a hanged man, being like, oh, I'm stuck here forever, I can't figure it out. No, she needs to make a wheel and write down what you want. And it's little steps, because I feel like that might help you break it down, how to get there, both for the work-wise and the relationship-wise.
Okay.
And, you're going to have to go through some crap and release some stuff emotionally.
Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed now that I've seen you doing a tarot card is you're not an average tarot card reader. Like, you are trying to communicate while you're doing tarot card. I've had mine read many times, and normally it's flip the card, this is what the card means. Flip the card, this is what the card means. And oftentimes you'll find ones.
She also gets other information.
So you're
like
receiving messages during the reading.
She's the Green Berets or the Navy SEALs of tarot card readers. She's Special Forces tarot card readers.
That's right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, if people who just read the cards and read them for the base meaning, there's value there, because they can definitely help people. It's just, I think I prefer to use my intuition and or anything that and when they showed me a circle, like at the end there, they showed me a big circle and a wheel, and I've heard of this, or I have never done one, but I've thought about doing it, for them to show me a circle, a wheel, and write down like, here's the goal, and then like steps to get to the goal.
Now the steps right around the wheel.
Yeah, so it looks
I started drawing the wheel, and so I'm gonna go clockwise around it and write down steps. I just got to figure out the
center.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know if they show me that because that's a good tool for you, or if maybe that will help you, because I feel like if you're like a big picture guy, but we need to make the small steps to get to the big picture, or just break it down a little easier. I just give you that because I feel like it can help you, and they show me that because there's reason.
Hey,
that's very cool.
That was awesome, and it hit on a lot of as Betsy giggled out, it hit on a lot of points.
Cracks me up that you brought up relationships. So funny.
See, I said it's not always what you want to talk about. It's what they know you need to hear.
You've had the job issue on lockdown for a long time.
I'm perpetually single.
Yes, it's the relationship issue that we have to keep revisiting.
Well,
that is hilarious. So to kind of tie this up neat for our listeners, you have a website. It's the indigofeather.com. Let's talk about that for a second.
Let's get some plugs going. The indigofeather.com. The Indigo Feather healer.
To tell you the truth, I don't use my website that much, so whatever I shared with Betsy.
It's the indigofeather.com.
Yes, the Indigo Feather healer is my Gmail.
It's the Gmail address.
So, I had to add healer to that, but yeah, the indigofeather.com is my website.
And can they schedule on the website, or do you prefer Facebook? Because she is on Facebook under the Indigo Feather.
Yeah, so I prefer Facebook. Yes, thank you. That's my website. I need to do a better job at updating it. That's the left side of the brain that I don't prefer to use.
You need to get one of your kids to say, hey.
No kidding. They would do much better job than I can. I have the very basic going there. So
I think it looks really good.
Thank you.
So go back to the top. Let's talk about each one of these. So intuitive work, when you talk intuitive work, click on that. We're talking mediums, tarot cards, things of that nature.
Yes. Yep. So that's kind of,
this is just a synopsis, general readings.
Yeah.
Kind of all the stuff that she did today would fall under that.
And then the crystal healing, is that different than Reiki? Or is it pronounced Reiki or Reiki?
Reiki. So think of like Ray and then Ki.
Okay, so the crystal healing would be under Reiki.
It's a little different. So, for years upon years, I loved crystals. I didn't know, people used to tease me before it got cool, which I'm like, well, I'm glad it's getting cool. But man, I was made fun of for a long time having like crystals everywhere.
Again,
I
special
just-
forces. You blaze the trail into battle for others to follow.
Yeah. So I carry them with me, and I have these great stories I can get to on a different time about one that I swear to gosh helped my daughter while I was pregnant. That thing did not leave me for 9 months. So anyways, crystal healing, I've just, been certified. I love them. There's different meanings and healings. I use crystals a lot in Reiki, where I'll place them on your chakras and like surround the table and everything like that.
Cool.
Now the chakras are like when you see the picture of the person that's sitting cross-legged and it has the color dots along their spine, right?
Yeah, so there's 7, like most people know about the 7 main chakras. There's actually, we have a lot more, but that's like
Those
way
are
out there.
primary, right?
Yeah.
And on Tuesdays, correct? You do a Tarot Tuesdays
Yeah,
on Facebook.
yeah. If you my Facebook, so this you can definitely reach out to me here, but I don't give my website enough attention. I mostly communicate on Facebook. So I have the Indigo Feather on Facebook. And I'm really proud. I've only been doing this online, like publicly, for, will it be 3 years?
Go up to
I
search.
think it will be 3 years this March or May, one of those. And when I finally was like, I'm gonna do it, like just put on your brave girl panties and get out there and do it. So it'll be 3 years this coming May. So a lot of my clients and followers are on Facebook. I do Tarot Tuesdays. So tomorrow, I love to do that because it's a nice way for people to get a little message during the week.
And that's like a general reading, correct?
Yeah.
And you
So
just, whichever one you're drawn to, you choose that.
yeah. So I switch out my decks for that depending on what I feel like using each day. And I just, close my eyes and I say, what are the 3 main messages that people need to hear today? And I lay it out. And it's kind of a fun way for people to, close their eyes, take a minute to do a little bit of reflection themselves, and then let them be like, and then they pick the card. So yeah, this is my Facebook page. And then if you could find the Indigo Feather.
There is the other one, which is more of her business page.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's where they can go to schedule. Tell us about your pricings, your times, all of those things.
Okay, awesome. So if you're interested in reading, most people just message me on the Indigo Feather. You could do the other one too. And just let me know what you're looking for. My medium readings are $45. And what you get for that is at least a half-hour video where we're talking like this. And I write down, I'm a people pleaser. So that's me by fault. So I spend at least a half hour to 45 minutes connecting to their loved one. So if somebody wants a medium reading, we schedule it. I ask them to give me a photo of their loved one because 2 things, I do more direct mediumship. So if they say like, this is who I want to talk to, I say, don't give me no information. I don't want to know anything other than just a photo. And the way that I like to do it is I get in my meditative state and I'm like, okay, I want to talk to you. I talk to my guides and I say, this is the person I need to communicate to. I write down anything that I see, hear, or feel, like those messages that I did for you, Jared. It just comes to me, which is, I don't need a photo. But for me, it's a comfort level where I'm like, okay, I'm going to quiet out the other hundreds of people, and I want to talk to this soul right now. So I write it down, and then we do a half-hour video, at least. And then I send you a picture of all the notes that I've taken because for me, I feel like if you're speaking to a past loved one and I'm giving you like 3 pages of notes, that's too much for you to remember. Like I would not remember anything. So I like to write down everything too. And that way it's like a keepsake. You know what I mean? That this is what my loved one wants me to hear right now. And then if you want a tarot reading, again, you can just message me and those are $25. And you can we do it via Facebook Messenger or Zoom or whatever you want. And then I can do distance Reiki and in-house Reiki. And it depends on how long. It's like either $30 or $45, depending on how many minutes you want.
And talk to me about distance Reiki, because I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So it's cool. And I know at first I was like, even for me, I was like, whoa, that's a little far out. Like, how's that really work? But it's energy. We are all made up of energy, right? Our cells, our pores, everything. So same thing with the video chat. I would have the person be on video chat. I asked that they have a quiet room, no distractions. And I just play my Reiki. I've got my little playlist like I do with your in-house. I play the music, and it's funny, sometimes I'll use like a pillow, and I just go over and I envision, and when you do Reiki, when you become attuned to different levels, you do different symbols, and that helps you find people's energy. For me, I literally pretend like you're a little person on my table, and I just kind of go over I'd be like, this is, Betsy's crown, and I'm putting healing energy on her crown, and you kind of pretend like, okay, now I'm over her third eye, and I'm at the shoulders, the heart, the throat, the sacral, the solar, the plex, and I just go through it. And for me, I can either see the colors or I feel an extra. The way I describe Reiki in person and even distance, it's like feeling like little tingles.
Like a different sensation.
Yeah,
Well,
and I'll like
just to go off on that. What am I? What am I? Extra.
Yeah.
Extra. I'm gonna make him a T-shirt now.
You could get blow up dolls to do this.
Well, they do have blow up dolls, but that's for something else, right?
Okay, sorry. Back to the serious stuff. I had to throw that out there.
It's ultimately all this is just it's good. So I just kind of feel areas that to me I feel more warmth, or you feel like the little thingies like that. It's like ding 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 ding. It's like a little spidey sense, be like, ooh, there's something going on here, and I just focus like healing energy, heal this person, remove energy. You can kind of feel if it's close to them, is something that they've been carrying around a long time and possibly having a physical ailment because of it. And you just send them healing, wishing thoughts. There's different, symbols and stuff you do. Things I say, I ask for their guides, my guides, everybody heal this person. They no longer need to have this, carry this. And then you just kind of help them get into a really relaxed state, remove any blocks that I feel or see or hear, relate any messages. Again, if spirit comes through and talks to me while I'm doing it, I'll tell them that. And then the key is just to let them know that we've removed what we can remove. I tell them the different areas. And the key for me is always to let people know, like, they can continue to heal themselves, work on this and heal.
I think it's amazing all the that you offer these services to help people out, and everyone listening, go look at her page, see if there's these services can help people out, but also they're fun.
Yeah.
The tarot card reading is fun. Medium reading sounds. I came into this conversation nervous.
You did?
Yes. and it was fun. It was calming and relaxing. And so just go to Facebook, the Indigo Feather, and go on there. Have a look at what's going on there.
I try to post funny stuff too. I don't want it to be all like serious, and a lot of the people on my page are grieving. I mean, everybody in this life has pretty much lost somebody, but a lot of the people that I talk to have, been really affected by grief. So I try to also post, things relating to them, but I try to do like Sunday funnies, and like I did a funny one about like my spirit plant, and it's this cactus giving the middle finger, just to kind of keep it light, because it's like, it can't be too serious. There's a lot of fun to be had here, and I just want it to be a good place for people to come and learn, whether about tarot or, I try to tell people, like, oh, there's a new moon, so if you've been like extra emotional and cranky, let's blame it on the moon. Or I try to do a little bit of astrology too.
Lighten the mood.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask a little bit about your history. So, you say that anyone can learn to open this up, but it sounds like it kind of came to you naturally.
Yeah.
What was your childhood like? Were you raised religiously, or was it so you weren't raised in a religious household?
No, not at all. I personally believe in having, so some of my earliest memories are sleeping with my sister in upstairs. We had an old house, and I just would hear steps, and I would put my head under the covers, and I would tell my sister, I don't even know if she'd remember this, but I remember it was an old man and an old woman, and they walked up those stairs every night, and it would drive me crazy, and it would scare me because I was a little kid, and I just knew that it was an old man and an old woman walking up the stairs in the middle of the night.
Do
They
you
were
think
waking
because of that spiritual interaction at that age, it kind of opened your mind up a little more than the average person?
I think a little bit of that, but I also feel like my family does have history of it because, my mom would be very clear about being like, oh, yeah, books used to fly off my Nana's shelf. And I'd be like, oh, cool, and it was just never.
It was so normal.
Yeah. And,
We were both raised at our young age in a religious household in Mormons.
And that particular religion, like a lot of religions, sees anything esoteric or anything that's spiritually unrelated to what's in, say, the Bible or other doctrine as from the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And so it almost felt, I remember my first reading going into it nervous because it almost felt like I was dabbling in dark matter.
Yeah.
Put it in mind because, first thing she pulls, first we talk about the cards, the hangman, the Grim Reaper, the knife stuck through a guy's head. I don't know, whatever all the words are. And those are good cards.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
What's the bad cards then?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just it's always been something, and I can remember being young and specifically knowing things were going to happen, but I just thought it was kind of normal. I had an instance in college, and I said, this person's going to follow us home, me and a friend, and sure enough, this car started following us, but I was told in advance, so I just drove to a police station, and this random car followed us to a police station. So, I just thought I always had good intuition, but the older I got, the more I knew that I've always been told, and I just knew enough to listen. And I think that's what a lot of us have it, but we don't always listen because we don't think.
Or we misinterpret it.
Yeah.
Because we try to fit it into a narrative. Like the story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And if something comes in the middle of that, we interpret it as something that's totally different.
Yeah. And so my kids are, I'm happy that my kids understand this. I've got a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and we freely talk about spirits or like, a thing will fall off the shelf, and they don't get scared. They're like, oh, someone's here, huh? And I'm like, yeah. So they are going to benefit from it,
Do any of them have the inclination?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really? Now, I've often wondered this, and I wonder this now. Does it seem that more females have this inclination in life than males? Because I think it's the hemisphere of the brain that dominates.
I think that males have it. Both my boys had experiences when they were young where they would tell me like, oh, Pa is up there. They never met Pa. That was my husband's grandfather, and he's got white hair, and I was like, yup. What's give me a message. What's he saying? But the older boys get, I feel like they shut it off faster than females. So
it's kind of a social norm.
Well, it may not be social. I think it may be that whole hormones that come in too.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Because it, I know a lot of people think that men are just socially made to be men, but no, being a man, it is in you. Mm-hmm. It's your drive to want to play with the truck. It's your drive to want to hold a gun. It's your drive to want to be strong or bold or achieve or compete at something. Even guys that don't compete on a field will still find competition in something, whether it's a board game, and that drive is within them. And I think that's squashing anything. That's why creative. Humans are here. I mean, if men didn't do that, humans would have starved and died when we had to hunt food.
Yeah. My daughter gave me a reading. She's 5 now, so she was 3.5 or 4.
Oh, wow.
It would have been last year. She was 4. And she gave me a reading out of nowhere, and I was like, oh, okay.
She might end up being like the super Delta Force of because she's growing up with this.
Right.
And I hope, yeah, that's my
And
hope, is that she's comfortable and stays comfortable, because we all go
she's
through
got
that phase where,
well, yeah, she's going to rebel when she's a teenager, and I'm going to apologize ahead of that for that, like I do to my sister who's got a approaching teenager now. Girl, teenage boys are. I mean, you just got to have band-aids and food ready, but teenage
yeah.
girls, you gotta have emotional support ready, and I'm not that well equipped for that.
hmm
Well, that
Yes. I just think, it's everybody has it. Some have it more. I'd say, like, everybody can play basketball, right? Some people never touch basketball. Some people go to NBA. Some people just play, town league, or some people just shoot hoops for fun. It's a skill. And I think we all have it to different extents. You can either grow it, you stay away from it, or you just never bother to try.
that's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah,
So even you could play basketball, Jared.
yeah. Oh, okay.
That's this conversation. See, I try to always include, like we did, hypnotic regressive therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to expose him to these things because he's always just been, whatever.
I find it interesting. I
But
love
it's
this stuff,
super cool stuff.
but
Yeah.
I don't have any perception for any of that. I saw a few what could possibly be ghosts when I was younger, some Native American stuff that could
Yeah.
possibly be ghosts, and also growing up. But
see, his brain fitted into the narrative. Instead of saying that was a ghost and just accepting that was something spiritual that happened, he was like, well, it could have been the wind, or,
Yeah.
the guy behind me was wearing heavy shoes, or,
Mhm.
there was one instance that was quite shocking. That was out on the reservation, and I actually saw the grass getting pressed by steps behind me and things like that. But I wrote it off for a long time, but it is interesting, and I enjoy this, and we need to have a lot more conversations.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
think
I'd love to.
next, I think what I'd like to do is we'll get on your schedule and get you paid and everything set up to have you do a reading for Jared, much like the one you did for me.
Okay.
Because that is something that I refer back to the notes that you sent to me all the time. It was astonishing how many points you hit on during that reading. And I know that my niece framed hers
Oh, that's
and has it on
awesome.
her wall because it really did hit home. So I would like to set that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the meantime, like we said, the Indigo Feather.
Go to the Facebook. It's pulled up right now for those who are viewing, and for those who are listening. Just go onto Facebook, the Indigo Feather, and there is also a website, the Indigo Feather, and you can go there. You work mostly through Facebook, but
Maybe you can go there and just do a little research on
if
what
you're
she has
not a
available.
Facebook person, reach out to her. If you're looking for help, if you're having questions about what to do, what your future holds, why not seek out the Green Beret
That's right.
of tarot card, medium readings.
Yeah.
This is really interesting, and she'll be back on our show here in a month or two, and definitely we'll go through another reading, and I want to hear more about how she built her here, I'll pull you back up so I'm not talking just to Betsy like a rude person, but I want to hear more about how you exercise these skills.
Yeah. How do you practice other than just readings? So we'll cover that on the
Yeah,
next one.
absolutely. I love this. I love growing. I love learning. And the basis of what I want to do every day is because this is fulfilling who I'm meant to be. I'm ready to fulfill, and this is what feels good to me, is to help others in whatever healing way I can. Because ultimately, it all comes down is to helping people have a better life, better outlook, like you said, help put them on the right steps, the right positive mind frame so that they can get through the downs to make it back up. Like that's my whole end game, is just to help heal people any way I can.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. And she's got a cool accent to go along with.
Right.
And you're up there in Patriots land, so maybe you're
Oh.
like the Belichick of where you get other mediums or other tarot card readers just read the cards, but you get the cheater with the video camera.
I don't know. See, I like that you call me Belichick, but you don't call out him on that.
No, actually, I like Belichick. I think he is not just one of the best, but he's in like the top 3 of coaches in the NFL. He knows his business and he runs his game. Belichick is an outstanding coach. I know everyone likes to give him a hard time just because their team. I'm a Bears fan. I gave up on a winning team many moons ago. But yeah, Belichick.
Yeah, we're only like 45 minutes from Foxborough, so we go down a couple times a year, even just to like walk around the stadium and have fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
How crazy is it? Have you been to one of the football games?
So we took my son for his 10th birthday.
How crazy was it for you there? I'll bet that was as much it was probably like you were in a wind tunnel of energy.
Yeah, it's so in a place like that, I pick up a lot of people's energy. Sometimes you get messages, and so this was funny. This was a good psychic thing. I told my son, so it was my husband, my son, and myself. I said, we're going to meet somebody famous today. And I'm like, I just know it. We're going to meet somebody famous. And I just knew it. And we're walking, my husband, we got a drink, and then he's getting his food. And this man walks out of this like room dressed way nicer than anybody else at a Patriots game. And I was like, I don't know who it is, but he's somebody important. And so my husband started talking to me. It was Scott Zolak. He's an old Patriots player. He's got a TV show. He's got books, all of that.
Wow.
And so my husband talked to me for a minute, and I said, hey, this is my son's 10th birthday. So he gave my son a pat on the shoulder. And I didn't know who he was because I'm not, I couldn't tell you who Patriots players are. But so that helped. That psychic part helps. Tell my son we're going to meet somebody famous that day.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is. This has been a great show. Great show.
Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. It was
for
fun.
taking some time. Yeah.
Yeah. And, if you're out there and you don't believe this, I had never, ever talked to her before. Never.
Correct.
I've never talked to Kim. Me and Kim have never said anything. And she pulled up some stuff that, Betsy's eyes rolled and she was staring at the back of her head over it. So
the relationship card.
Which is, I'll admit, I'm afraid of a few things in life. I'm not fond of spiders, but I'm scared of relationship stuff. It scares me for some reason. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But
so interesting.
Yeah.
So on the mark.
Now, unless Betsy and her have a secret like pen palship where Betsy's like, we got to get my brother married off.
That wouldn't be good for me. No, because that would take the fun out of it.
That's right.
Yeah, it would.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Yes,
thank you so much. It was awesome. A lot of fun.
Great visit. Thank you.
Yes, we're going to reach out again. We're going to have I think we at least need to do a show on each one of the services. Yeah.
The Reiki's an interesting one
Yeah.
because a lot of people don't understand energy work, and maybe we could just dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that's, that's a whole nother, that's something that I started, about 10 years ago, trying to learn and figure it out. Because admittedly, 10 plus years ago, I didn't know much about Reiki and chakras. I was like, yeah, that's a little far out. But man, once you get into it and you learn and you are healing yourself and others simply through energy, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, it
All right.
is. It's way cool. Thank you very much, Kim.
Thank you both so much. It was awesome talking to you guys.
All right, everyone. Again,
The Indigo
the
Feather.
Indigo Feather. Go there on Facebook. Go there on the Indigo Feather Healer, or is it Healing?
Her email is the Indigo Feather Healer
The
at
Indigo
gmail.com.
Feather Healer at gmail.com. And then she's got the Indigo Feather on just your regular Google search on that. Go there, look at the services. If you just want a little bit of assistance, or answer a question on your further path. Reach out to her. I know that this has been helpful to me today. We'll see how it works out in the future when I end up married off and angry about it. But
You have free will. Remember that, Jared.
I
You
have free will.
Free will.
This isn't a shotgun wedding.
Yeah.
But thanks again so much.
Thanks, Kim. We'll talk
You're
to you
welcome. It
soon.
was awesome talking to you guys.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.